Well, I suppose in two completely different ways. The world was very touching but slightly overwhelming. You see, I don't think Diana probably ever realized how much she was loved and known all over the world.
Before her tragic passing, Princess Diana's mother penned a chilling message that would leave the world in shock. A note so startling, it exposed deep wounds and hinted at a darkness few ever imagined. As we delve into this shocking revelation, we uncover secrets that challenge everything we thought we knew about Diana's life and legacy. Join us in this video to uncover the truth behind this eerie note and the shocking impact it had on the royal family. Princess Diana's mother's note and horrifying actions after her death. Frances Shand Kidd, Princess Diana's mother, lived a life marked by personal strife and public scrutiny. Born Frances Burke Roche in early 1936, she was the daughter of Baron Fermoy and Ruth Roche. Her aristocratic upbringing positioned her in close proximity to the British royal family, with her own mother, Lady Fermoy, serving as a lady of the bedchamber to the Queen Mother. In 1954, Frances married Viscount Althorp, Earl Spencer, a union that seemed destined for prominence. Together, they had 5 children: Sarah, Jane, John, who tragically died shortly after birth, Diana, and Charles. Despite the family's noble lineage, Frances's personal life was far from idyllic. In 1967, she shocked society by leaving her marriage for Peter Shand Kidd, a wealthy wallpaper heir. This decision sparked a bitter divorce and custody battle. In a stunning betrayal, Frances's own mother, Lady Fermoy, testified against her in court, siding with Viscount Althorp. The courts ultimately awarded custody of the children to their father, a decision that devastated Frances. Her actions alienated her from her aristocratic peers and strained her relationships with her children, including Diana. Keep watching to know more. Years later, Frances remarried Peter Shand Kidd. But the marriage did not last. In a cruel twist, Peter left her to return to his first wife, adding yet another layer of heartache to Frances's tumultuous life. These personal challenges perhaps influenced her complicated relationship with Diana, which was characterized by love, conflict, and misunderstanding. Initially, Frances was proud of Diana's marriage to Prince Charles, viewing it as a triumph for the family. However, as Diana's struggles with the pressures of royal life became apparent, Frances's attitude shifted. The mother and daughter frequently clashed, with their most infamous disagreement reportedly revolving around Diana's relationship with Hasnat Khan, a British Pakistani heart surgeon. Frances disapproved of Diana dating outside her race, a stance that deeply upset Diana. By the time Diana tragically died in 1997, the two were no longer speaking. In the wake of Diana's death, Frances issued a handwritten note thanking the public for their overwhelming sympathy. She wrote, "I pray for her and the 2 men who died with her and for their families. I am so proud of William and Harry, and Diana's sisters, Sarah and Jane, and her brother, Charles. I thank God for the gift of Diana and for all her loving and giving. I give her back to him, with my love, pride, and admiration, to rest in peace." However, Frances's actions in the months following Diana's death shocked those closest to the late princess. Paul Burrell, Diana's former butler, accused Frances of deliberately tearing up and destroying personal letters and belongings of Diana. Burrell claimed that Frances and other family members were attempting to erase parts of Diana's world, possibly to protect the family's reputation or to conceal aspects of her private life. This destruction of personal items created a rift between Frances and Diana's close allies. Burrell, feeling a duty to preserve Diana's legacy, secretly moved some of her possessions to his home. His actions later led to a legal battle, as he was charged with stealing hundreds of Diana's personal items. Though the trial ultimately collapsed after Burrell revealed he had informed the Queen of his actions, the incident underscored the deep divisions within Diana's family. Frances Shand Kidd's life, especially her actions following Diana's death, remains a subject of intense scrutiny. Her public grief stood in stark contrast to the accusations of private destruction, leaving a complicated legacy that continues to provoke debate about her relationship with Diana and her role in preserving the memory of the people's princess. As the world reeled from the complicated legacy of Frances Shand Kidd, Diana's mother, the spotlight shifted to the harrowing final hours of Diana's life. Keep watching as we unveil the dark truth. Princess Diana's final moments and tragic death. The fateful night began with an air of unease on August 30th, 1997, as Paris lay beneath a tranquil starry sky. Diana and her companion, Dodi Fayed, sought refuge from relentless paparazzi, attempting to navigate the fragile line between public adoration and their desire for privacy. The pair, accompanied by their bodyguard Trevor Rees-Jones, exited the Ritz Hotel through a rear entrance, slipping into the sleek black Mercedes S280, hoping for a brief escape from the chaos of their lives. Unbeknownst to them, their driver, Henri Paul, bore the weight of dangerous decisions. Later investigations revealed Paul had consumed a mixture of alcohol and prescription medications that rendered him unfit to drive. Despite his calm demeanor, his impaired state set the stage for disaster. As the vehicle sped through Paris, eyewitnesses reported erratic driving, heightening the tension in what should have been a routine journey. Shortly after midnight on August 31st, 1997, the streets of Paris erupted with urgency as the Mercedes S280 collided violently with a pillar inside the Pont de l'Alma tunnel. The devastating crash left the car mangled beyond recognition, a chilling reminder of the high-speed impact. Firefighter Xavier Gourmelon and his team were among the first responders. As they reached the scene, they encountered a chaotic tableau of wreckage and despair. Among the victims, Princess Diana displayed an extraordinary will to cling to life. Her faint words, barely audible amidst the commotion, drew Gourmelon's attention, though he had no idea of her identity at the time. Those whispered words would later become part of the tragic lore surrounding her untimely death. By the time emergency services transported Diana to Pitié-Salpêtrière Hospital, her condition was critical. Paramedics had battled to stabilize her en route, administering life-saving measures after she suffered cardiac arrest at the crash site. Despite these efforts, the severity of her injuries presented a daunting challenge. Upon her arrival at approximately 2:01 a.m., the medical team, led by Dr. Monsef Daman, launched a desperate fight to save Diana's life. Diagnostic tests revealed extensive internal injuries, including catastrophic damage to her heart and lungs. The team performed a thoracotomy to stem internal bleeding and allow her heart to pump more effectively. However, the damage was insurmountable. Diana's pericardium, the protective membrane surrounding the heart, was torn, severely compromising her ability to survive. Recognizing the gravity of her condition, the hospital called in renowned cardiac surgeon Professor Alain Pavier. He worked tirelessly alongside Dr. Daman, identifying a tear in Diana's upper left pulmonary vein near her heart. Despite their expertise and relentless determination, the surgical team could not reverse the damage. There's more. Keep watching. For over an hour, the medical team employed every available resource, including repeated electrical shocks to her heart, in a desperate bid to restore her pulse. Yet, the profound internal injuries rendered their efforts futile. At 4 a.m., after a prolonged and valiant fight, the team had no choice but to pronounce Princess Diana dead. In those final moments, the hospital room was filled with a solemn silence, as the team, exhausted and heartbroken, stepped back from their monumental efforts. Diana's tragic death reverberated far beyond the walls of the hospital, igniting waves of grief that swept across the globe. She was not only a beloved royal, but also a beacon of compassion and humanity, leaving the world to grapple with the loss of someone who had touched countless lives. In the aftermath of Princess Diana's devastating and untimely death, the world's grief was quickly accompanied by a wave of questions and suspicions. Speculations and conspiracy theories surrounding Princess Diana's death. Despite the exhaustive efforts of medical professionals and first responders, doubts and conspiracy theories began to take root, casting shadows over the tragic events of that fateful night. These speculations, largely propelled by Mohammed Al-Fayed, Dodi Fayed's father, painted a narrative of foul play. Al-Fayed was adamant that the crash was not an accident, but a deliberate act orchestrated by British authorities. He believed both his son and Diana were targeted, and his public accusations fanned the flames of controversy. The suspicions extended even to the medical team led by Dr. Monsef Daman, whose actions on the night of Diana's death were scrutinized under a microscope. As public pressure mounted and theories grew increasingly elaborate, the British authorities launched an in-depth investigation in the early 2000s. Dubbed Operation Paget, this inquiry was spearheaded by former Metropolitan Police Chief Lord John Stevens. Its purpose was clear: to unravel the mysteries surrounding Diana's death, analyze the crash's circumstances, and address the persistent allegations of a cover-up involving Dr. Dahman and his team. The investigation brought to light every detail of that tragic night. Lord Stevens worked closely with a British forensic pathologist and combed through an extensive array of evidence, including eyewitness accounts, crash scene analysis, and medical records. The probe also provided an opportunity for Dr. Dahman and his colleagues to defend their actions. Fully cooperating with the investigation, they stood by their unwavering dedication to saving Diana's life. So what did they find out? Keep watching to know. When the findings were finally revealed, they struck a decisive blow against the conspiracy theories. According to the Daily Mail, Lord Stevens highlighted the exceptional qualifications and professionalism of the medical team. Dr. Dahman and his colleagues were commended for their expertise and their relentless efforts to save Diana under extraordinarily challenging conditions. The report concluded that every possible step had been taken to give Diana a fighting chance. Lord Stevens emphasized that no alternative course of action could have altered the tragic outcome. By addressing each lingering doubt and baseless accusation, Operation Paget offered much-needed clarity, affirming the integrity of the medical team and the unavoidable nature of Diana's passing. As the world mourned the loss of Princess Diana, her diary entries began to shed light on the silent battles she endured behind the scenes. You definitely want to know the details of her journaling. This is probably the most interesting part of this video. Keep watching as we reveal everything. Princess Diana's diary reveals her struggles. While the public adored her for her grace, kindness, and commitment to charitable causes, her private writings revealed a woman grappling with profound emotional pain, betrayal, and isolation. These entries painted a haunting picture of the personal challenges she faced, even as she upheld the polished image expected of a royal. Diana's diary provides an intimate window into her struggles, particularly the heartbreak caused by her husband's ongoing affair with Camilla Parker Bowles. Her feelings of inadequacy and betrayal are starkly apparent in her own words. "I feel like I'm living in her shadow. No matter what I do, he always goes back to her. I'll never be enough." These revelations show just how deeply Charles's actions wounded her, leaving her questioning her self-worth and place in his life. As the affair became more public and undeniable, Diana's resentment grew. Her entries capture moments of despair when she felt trapped in a loveless marriage, bound by the duty to maintain appearances for the sake of the monarchy. "I'm suffocating in this life," she wrote in one poignant entry. "Everyone expects me to just smile and wave, while inside I'm falling apart. How can I pretend everything is fine when my husband is in love with someone else?" Diana's anguish was not limited to her emotional pain, but also extended to battles with her mental health. The princess openly recorded her struggles with depression, bulimia, and thoughts of ending her life. Her writings detail a woman who felt unsupported and isolated, even in moments of extreme distress. In one particularly heartbreaking entry, Diana wrote about standing at the top of the Kensington Palace staircase, contemplating a final escape from her pain. "I thought about just letting go," she admitted, her words echoing the depth of her sorrow. But that's not all. Her eating disorder, bulimia, became a coping mechanism amid the relentless pressure and emotional turmoil she endured. Diana's diary entries reveal how she used control over food as a way to reclaim some power in her life. "It was the only thing I could control," she confessed, when everything else was falling apart. Her writings also recount hurtful remarks from Charles that exacerbated her insecurities. On one occasion, he criticized her eating habits, telling her she was too heavy. This stinging comment left Diana feeling crushed. "I felt like nothing," she wrote. "No matter how hard I tried, I would never be good enough for him." In the absence of adequate emotional support, Diana's pain deepened. She wrote about her cries for help being ignored or dismissed, her pleas treated as dramatic outbursts rather than genuine expressions of distress. "They don't care," she lamented. "They think I'm being dramatic, but they don't understand how much I'm hurting." This indifference compounded her isolation, forcing her to confront her struggles largely alone. Even as Diana faced these personal battles, her diary reveals glimmers of resilience and determination. Despite her heartbreak, depression, and struggles with bulimia, she refused to let her circumstances define her entirely. Her writings convey a spirit determined to survive and find strength in adversity. "I'm not going to let them break me," she declared in one entry. "I'm stronger than they think." Diana's writings also allude to her fears about her safety in the years leading up to her tragic death. She expressed suspicions that someone close to her ex-husband, Charles, might harm her or stage a fatal accident to remove her from his life. In a chilling letter to her former butler, Paul Burrell, Diana voiced her belief that she might die in a car crash, a fear she reiterated in conversations with close confidants. These diary entries, while deeply personal, offer a poignant and heart-wrenching narrative of a woman who, despite her fame and influence, was profoundly human in her struggles. They reveal not only the depth of Diana's pain, but also her remarkable strength in the face of overwhelming odds. Princess Diana's journey was one of profound complexity, which resulted in her rocky relationship with the royals. Keep watching to know more. Princess Diana's bold stances and rocky relationship with the royals. In the years since her passing, Diana's legacy has only grown, especially as her sons, William and Harry, have become leading figures in the royal family. Yet, the days immediately following her death exposed the stark divide between Diana and the institution she represented. The royal family's cold and silent reaction to her passing felt unsettling to many. While the world grieved openly, the monarchy's lack of emotion and failure to issue a statement painted a picture of detachment. This silence drew widespread criticism, as it seemed to underscore a long-standing tension between Diana and the institution she had struggled to navigate during her lifetime. This strained relationship was not a new development. Long before her divorce from Prince Charles, Diana's connection with the royal family was fraught with challenges. Her charisma and ability to captivate the public often drew more attention than the Queen herself. This, as speculated, may have caused friction within the royal household. Diana's independence and refusal to conform to rigid royal traditions further deepened the divide. One of Diana's earliest acts of defiance came on her wedding day. In a subtle yet powerful move, she chose to omit the word "obey" from her vows, breaking with centuries-old royal tradition. Instead, she pledged to love, comfort, honor, and keep Charles, signaling to the world that she intended to embrace her role on her own terms. This decision sparked controversy at the time, but later inspired a shift in royal wedding vows, as seen with Kate Middleton and Meghan Markle, who followed Diana's lead by leaving out the word "obey." Diana's boldness extended far beyond her wedding vows. She redefined what it meant to be a royal by breaking numerous traditions in favor of a more human and approachable image. While the Queen was known for her gloves and hats, Diana discarded these symbols of formality. She believed gloves hindered personal connections and opted to shake hands or hold them directly. Hats, she reasoned, made it difficult to connect with children, so she left those behind too. These seemingly small gestures made Diana feel more relatable to the public, reinforcing her image as the people's princess. There's still some more. Stay tuned. Perhaps one of her most revolutionary decisions was choosing to give birth to her sons, William and Harry, in a hospital. Until then, royal babies were traditionally born at home, with prominent witnesses, such as the Archbishop of Canterbury, present to confirm the legitimacy of heirs. By delivering her children at a hospital, Diana modernized royal motherhood and set a new precedent for future generations. These bold choices showcased Diana's unwavering commitment to authenticity. She refused to let the constraints of royal protocol dictate her life, even if it meant clashing with the family she represented. Diana's defiance was not an act of rebellion for rebellion's sake. It was an assertion of her individuality in a role that demanded conformity. While her independence may have created friction within the royal household, it endeared her to the public. Diana's willingness to challenge traditions and stay true to herself resonated deeply with people worldwide. Her choices not only modernized the monarchy, but also humanized it, leaving a legacy that continues to inspire. Her journey was a testament to the power of staying true to oneself, no matter the odds. So what was her legacy like? Let's find out. Princess Diana's legacy. Princess Diana was more than just a member of the British royal family. She was a symbol of kindness, strength, and change. From her engagement to Prince Charles to her untimely death, she captivated the world. Known as the world's most photographed woman, Diana used her fame to support causes that touched people from all walks of life. Despite the challenges of her troubled marriage, her charm, elegance, and dedication to charity work made her one of the most admired figures in royal history. Diana's life was filled with struggles, but also remarkable achievements. Biographer Sarah Bradford revealed that the strain of her marriage, including constant criticism from Charles, often left her in despair. Even so, Diana's popularity soared while Charles faced declining public support. Her private secretary, Patrick Jeffson, described her as hardworking, organized, and deeply committed to her children. Those who knew her saw a mix of love and vulnerability that endeared her to millions. Though shy in her early years, Diana became a powerful figure in the royal family. She broke taboos by speaking openly about her struggles, including her eating disorder, which helped bring attention to mental health issues. Journalist Tina Brown noted that Diana had a natural ability to connect with people and use her influence to help others. Whether comforting the sick or supporting marginalized groups, Diana changed how the royal family approached charity work, emphasizing personal connection over tradition. Diana's casual, approachable demeanor stood out in the formal world of royalty. She preferred personal interactions, like shaking hands or hugging without gloves, which made the royal family feel more relatable. As journalist Eugene Robinson described, Diana was full of energy, compassion, and glamour, a refreshing presence who redefined the image of a royal. Her separation from Charles allowed her to find her own voice and carve a unique path. When Diana passed away in 1997, the grief felt around the world was unmatched. Her death forced the royal family to face criticism and adapt to public expectations. Many, including her son William, believe her legacy helped bridge the gap between the monarchy and the people, changing the way they are perceived. Diana's influence continued after her death. She was named runner-up for Time magazine's Person of the Year in 1997 and was included among the 100 Women of the Year in 2020. However, not everyone agreed with her actions. Some questioned whether her philanthropy was genuine or driven by personal motives. Her complicated relationship with the press also sparked debate, as she both criticized media intrusion and used it to her advantage. Despite these criticisms, Diana's dedication to causes like landmine awareness, AIDS support, and leprosy care proved her genuine desire to make a difference. Historian Ludmila Jordanova noted that Diana's story highlights the challenges faced by charismatic women in positions of power. While some argue her influence has faded, others believe her impact remains significant. In the end, Diana was neither perfect nor revolutionary, but she was deeply human. Her life, though short, showcased the power of compassion, courage, and authenticity. Diana's legacy continues to inspire people worldwide, reminding us of her groundbreaking efforts and lasting contributions to both the monarchy and society. Do you agree? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.
Blessed and very lucky. I had an amazing life, and music has been my life, and I got this for music and to work for charity.
Elton John has sparked royal drama like never before. The legendary singer has reportedly taken King Charles to the Supreme Court after shocking revelations about royal secrets. Elton, who shared a close bond with Princess Diana, claims the truth about her struggles and life within the royal family has been buried for too long, and King Charles might hold the key. This unexpected legal battle has left the public stunned, uncovering twists that could shake the monarchy to its core. So, what did Charles reveal? Elton John's revelation. Elton John, one of the world's most celebrated musicians, recently opened up about a shocking truth involving his late friend, Princess Diana, and King Charles. For years, Elton and Diana's friendship was admired by many. They were often seen laughing and enjoying each other's company at public events. But behind the scenes, their relationship faced unseen struggles that eventually led to a painful estrangement. Now, after decades of silence, Elton has revealed that King Charles played a significant role in driving a wedge between them. Elton and Diana's friendship began in 1981 at Prince Andrew's 21st birthday party. It was an unexpected bond that blossomed through shared humor, compassion, and understanding of the pressures that came with their public lives. Diana, trapped in a failing marriage and burdened by royal expectations, found solace in Elton's wit and empathy. Similarly, Elton, who had faced his own personal struggles, found a kindred spirit in Diana. Their bond was deep and genuine, but it wasn't without its challenges. According to Elton, the real turning point in their friendship came in 1997. He had asked Diana to contribute a foreword to a charity book for his AIDS Foundation, a cause he was deeply passionate about. Diana had initially agreed, but she later withdrew her support at the last minute. Elton was devastated and confused by her sudden change of heart. It wasn't until much later that he discovered the truth. King Charles had pressured Diana to pull out of the project. Charles was reportedly concerned about the royal family's image and believed that Diana's involvement in such a controversial project might bring unwanted attention. This revelation hurt Elton deeply. He felt betrayed, not just by Diana's decision, but by the unseen influence of King Charles. The incident marked the beginning of a painful rift between Elton and Diana. Their once close friendship cooled, and the frequent phone calls and meetings they had shared became a thing of the past. Elton chose to break his silence after years of reflection. He admitted that speaking out was not easy, knowing the weight his words carried. However, he felt it was important to share the truth. Not to stir controversy, but to honor Diana's legacy. Elton's revelation paints a complex picture of the pressures Diana faced as a member of the royal family, and the challenges that came with being her friend. It is a story of love, loss, and the enduring impact of one of the most beloved figures in modern history. King Charles's influence. King Charles has always been a figure of tradition, protocol, and responsibility when it comes to the British monarchy. However, behind the public image of duty lies a more complex story about his influence on those closest to him, including his late wife, Princess Diana. Recently, Elton John shed light on how Charles's actions not only shaped Diana's life, but also affected her friendships, particularly her bond with Elton himself. Elton and Diana shared a rare and beautiful friendship. They connected on a deep emotional level, with Elton offering her a sense of humor and empathy during some of her most challenging times. However, as their friendship grew, King Charles began to see it as a potential issue for the royal family. Diana's increasing popularity and her association with Elton, who was a global celebrity and a vocal advocate for causes like AIDS awareness, made Charles uneasy. He was deeply concerned with preserving the monarchy's image, and Elton's flamboyant personality and controversial work didn't align with the conservative values of the royal household. One of the most striking examples of Charles's influence was during the charity book controversy in 1997. Elton had asked Diana to write a foreword for a book supporting his AIDS Foundation. Diana initially agreed, but at the last moment she pulled out. Elton later revealed that Charles had pressured Diana to withdraw her support, fearing that her involvement in such a project would tarnish the monarchy's reputation. This decision left Elton feeling betrayed and confused, and it marked the beginning of a painful estrangement between the two friends. Charles's influence didn't stop with the charity book. Elton also recalled how Diana often spoke to him about feeling trapped in her royal role. She described how Charles's emotional distance and his focus on tradition made it difficult for her to feel supported. Behind the scenes, Charles subtly shaped many of Diana's decisions, including her relationships with people outside the royal family. This created ongoing tension between Diana's desire to live authentically and her duty to conform to royal expectations. Elton's revelations about Charles's actions highlight the unseen pressures within the royal family. While Charles's intentions may have been to protect the monarchy, his influence had far-reaching consequences, including the isolation Diana felt. and the strain it placed on her relationships. This story paints a picture of a man torn between his duty to the crown and the personal dynamics that defined his private life. The charity book incident. The charity book incident marked a turning point in Elton John's friendship with Princess Diana, a bond that had been cherished by both of them for years. In 1997, Elton was working on a charity coffee table book to benefit his AIDS Foundation, a cause he held close to his heart. The book aimed to raise awareness and funds for AIDS during a time when the disease was still heavily stigmatized. It was a bold and compassionate project, and Diana, known for her humanitarian efforts, agreed to write the foreword. Her involvement would have been monumental, given her global influence and her fearless advocacy for causes that many avoided. Elton was overjoyed by Diana's support. Her name attached to the project would not only bring much-needed attention to the cause, but also help break the stigma surrounding AIDS. At the time, very few public figures, let alone members of the royal family, were willing to openly associate themselves with the issue. Diana's agreement to contribute to the book felt like a powerful step forward, both for the cause and their friendship. However, just as everything seemed to be falling into place, Diana suddenly pulled out of the project. Elton was blindsided and deeply hurt. He couldn't understand why she had withdrawn her commitment to something she had seemed so passionate about. The abrupt decision left him confused and questioning their friendship. It wasn't until much later that Elton discovered the truth. King Charles had intervened. According to Elton, Charles had expressed concerns about Diana's involvement in such a high-profile and controversial project. The royal family, with its strong focus on maintaining tradition and avoiding divisive topics, viewed Diana's connection to the AIDS cause as risky. Fearing that it could bring negative attention to the monarchy, Charles reportedly pressured Diana to step away from the book. This revelation left Elton devastated. He felt not only betrayed by Diana's decision, but also frustrated that outside forces, particularly Charles's influence, had come between them. For Diana, the situation was equally heartbreaking. She was caught between her loyalty to Elton and her desire to maintain peace within the royal family. The incident highlighted the immense pressure she faced as a member of the monarchy, where even her personal friendships and passions were subject to scrutiny. The charity book incident became a painful rift in their friendship, one that neither Elton nor Diana fully recovered from before her untimely death. It remains a poignant reminder of the challenges Diana faced in balancing her personal values with the demands of royal life. Diana's isolation. Princess Diana was one of the most beloved and iconic figures in modern history, but behind the public adoration and glamorous image, she lived a life of deep loneliness and isolation. Trapped in the rigid world of the royal family and burdened by the constant scrutiny of the media, Diana often felt like she had no one to truly turn to. Her struggles were heartbreaking, and they reveal the immense pressure she endured as both a princess and a human being. From the outside, Diana's life seemed like a fairy tale. She was the Princess of Wales, married to Prince Charles, and adored by millions across the globe. But behind the palace walls, things were far from perfect. Her marriage to Charles was strained, marked by emotional distance and infidelity. Diana was well aware of Charles's ongoing relationship with Camilla Parker Bowles, and it left her feeling unloved and rejected. Despite being in the public eye, she felt more alone than ever. As her marriage fell apart, Diana found herself increasingly alienated within the royal family. The traditions and expectations of royal life were suffocating, and she struggled to find her place. She often described feeling like an outsider, unable to fit into the rigid mold that the monarchy demanded. Her every move was scrutinized, and her every flaw was magnified by the press. The constant presence of paparazzi only worsened her isolation, leaving her with little privacy or peace. Diana's mental health also suffered greatly during this time. She battled bulimia and depression, both of which were fueled by the pressures of her royal role and her crumbling marriage. She often confided in close friends about her feelings of hopelessness and despair. Elton John, one of her dearest friends, became a trusted confidant during her darkest moments. Late-night phone calls between the two revealed the depth of her struggles, as she shared her fears, frustrations, and longing for a life outside the royal spotlight. despite her pain, Diana remained committed to her humanitarian work, which became a source of purpose for her. She channeled her feelings of isolation into compassion for others, using her platform to champion causes like AIDS awareness and landmine removal. In helping others, she found some solace, even as her own life felt increasingly out of control. Diana's isolation was a tragic aspect of her life, but it also shaped the legacy she left behind. Her humanity, vulnerability, and strength continue to inspire millions, reminding the world of the struggles she endured and the compassion she shared. Estrangement and reconnection. The friendship between Elton John and Princess Diana was one of the most heartfelt and captivating bonds in the public eye. However, like many close relationships, it wasn't immune to challenges. Their friendship faced a painful estrangement in the mid-1990s, only to find a bittersweet moment of reconnection shortly before Diana's tragic passing. The fallout between Elton and Diana stemmed from a charity book project in 1997. Elton had planned to release a coffee table book to benefit his AIDS Foundation, a cause he passionately championed. Initially, Diana agreed to write the foreword for the book, and her involvement was significant, as she was a fearless advocate for humanitarian issues. However, she later withdrew her support, leaving Elton hurt and confused. He later discovered that King Charles had influenced her decision, urging her to step back from the project to protect the royal family's image. This revelation created a rift between Elton and Diana, as their friendship, which had been a source of joy and comfort, began to fade. During their estrangement, both Elton and Diana experienced emotional struggles. Diana was dealing with the breakdown of her marriage, the relentless scrutiny of the media, and her own feelings of isolation. Elton, on the other hand, was deeply affected by the loss of their connection, as Diana had been one of the few people who truly understood him on a personal level. The distance between them weighed heavily on both sides, leaving a void that neither could easily fill. In July 1997, tragedy brought them back together. The unexpected murder of their mutual friend, Gianni Versace, served as a turning point. At Versace's funeral in Milan, Elton and Diana reconnected through their shared grief. Sitting side by side, they comforted one another, holding hands and speaking quietly. The warmth of their bond returned, even if only for a brief moment. For Elton, this reconnection was bittersweet, as it reminded him of the closeness they once shared. Sadly, their renewed connection was short-lived. Just weeks later, Diana tragically passed away in a car accident in Paris. Elton was left mourning not only the loss of a dear friend, but also the missed opportunity to fully repair their relationship. Their story of estrangement and reconnection remains a poignant reminder of the fragility of human relationships and the importance of cherishing the people we hold dear. Elton's tribute to Diana. Elton John's tribute to Princess Diana remains one of the most iconic and emotional moments in modern history. Their friendship was one filled with laughter, shared struggles, and mutual respect. When Diana tragically passed away on August 31st, 1997, Elton was devastated. He had only recently reconnected with her after a period of estrangement, and her sudden death left him heartbroken. In his grief, Elton found a way to honor his dear friend in a way that would resonate with millions around the world. At Diana's funeral, held at Westminster Abbey, Elton performed a reworked version of his song "Candle in the Wind." Originally written as a tribute to Marilyn Monroe, the lyrics were rewritten by Elton's longtime collaborator, Bernie Taupin, to reflect Diana's life and legacy. The new version, titled "Goodbye England's Rose," painted a beautiful and heartfelt picture of Diana as a compassionate, loving, and iconic figure who had touched the hearts of so many. The performance was deeply moving. As Elton sang, his voice carried the weight of his grief and the collective mourning of millions who had lost their people's princess. The lyrics spoke of Diana's kindness and her ability to connect with everyday people, breaking through the barriers of royalty to show her humanity. The line, "Your candle burned out long before your legend ever will," captured the essence of her impact. Her life was cut short, but her legacy would endure forever. Behind the scenes, Elton's tribute wasn't without controversy. King Charles reportedly had reservations about including such an emotional and modern performance in what was meant to be a traditional royal funeral. However, the Dean of Westminster supported the idea, understanding the need for the public to grieve in a way that felt genuine. Ultimately, Elton's performance became one of the most memorable moments of the service, resonating with people across the world. The reworked "Candle in the Wind" went on to become one of the best-selling singles of all time, with proceeds donated to Diana's charities. For Elton, it wasn't just a song. It was his way of saying goodbye to a dear friend and ensuring that Diana's memory would live on forever. Elton's loyalty to Diana's children. After Princess Diana's tragic death in 1997, Elton John remained deeply connected to her memory through his enduring loyalty to her two sons, Prince William and Prince Harry. His devotion to Diana's children became a way for him to keep her legacy alive while supporting the boys she loved so dearly. Over the years, Elton has acted as both a friend and a protector, standing by them during some of their most challenging moments. Elton shared a particularly close bond with Prince Harry, who reminded him of Diana's warmth, humor, and compassion. After Diana's death, Elton kept in touch with both William and Harry, but it was Harry who often turned to him for guidance. Elton, having faced his own battles with fame and personal struggles, understood the pressures the young princes faced growing up in the public eye. He became someone they could rely on, offering advice and emotional support when they needed it most. One of the most beautiful moments showcasing Elton's loyalty came in 2018, when he performed at Harry and Meghan Markle's wedding. His rendition of several songs during the reception was more than just entertainment. It was a heartfelt gesture of love and support for the couple. Elton's presence at the wedding highlighted his ongoing commitment to Diana's family and his willingness to celebrate their happiness, just as Diana would have wanted. However, Elton's loyalty went beyond joyful occasions. When Harry and Meghan faced relentless media scrutiny and criticism, Elton stepped in to defend them. He publicly supported the couple when they were accused of hypocrisy for using private jets, revealing that he had provided the flights and ensured they were environmentally offset. Elton's defense of Harry and Meghan showed that he wasn't afraid to stand up for them, even when it meant drawing criticism himself. This loyalty has not been without consequences. Elton's unwavering support for Harry and Meghan, especially as their relationship with the royal family grew strained, deepened the distance between him and the monarchy. Yet, Elton's priority has always been clear: honoring Diana's legacy and protecting her children. For Elton, his loyalty to Diana's sons is not just about friendship. It's a tribute to the bond he shared with their mother. Through his actions, he continues to defend and uphold the values Diana stood for, ensuring her spirit lives on through her children. Elton's criticism of Charles Elton John has never been one to shy away from speaking his truth, and when it comes to King Charles, his words carry significant weight. Over the years, Elton has become increasingly vocal about the role Charles played in Princess Diana's struggles. As one of Diana's closest friends, Elton witnessed firsthand the emotional toll her marriage to Charles took on her, and he hasn't hesitated to criticize what he sees as Charles's lack of support for Diana during her most difficult times. One of Elton's main criticisms of Charles revolves around his inability to emotionally connect with Diana. According to Elton, Diana often confided in him about how lonely and trapped she felt in her marriage. She described Charles as distant and more focused on preserving the royal family's image than on addressing her needs or their relationship. This emotional neglect, coupled with Charles's ongoing affair with Camilla Parker Bowles, left Diana feeling isolated and heartbroken. Elton has also criticized Charles for the way he influenced Diana's personal decisions, particularly her friendships. One of the most notable examples of this was the 1997 charity book incident. Diana had agreed to write the foreword for a book benefiting Elton's AIDS Foundation, a cause she was passionate about. However, under pressure from Charles, who was concerned about the royal family's reputation, Diana withdrew her support. This caused a rift between Elton and Diana, one that was deeply painful for both of them. Elton has since spoken openly about how Charles's interference played a significant role in their estrangement. Beyond their personal dynamic, Elton has expressed disappointment in how Charles handled Diana's growing popularity. As Diana's humanitarian work and natural ability to connect with people made her the most beloved member of the royal family, Charles reportedly grew resentful. Elton believes that Charles's jealousy and desire to control the narrative surrounding Diana only added to her struggles within the monarchy. For Elton, his criticism of Charles isn't just about anger. It's about telling the truth. He feels a responsibility to honor Diana's legacy by shedding light on the challenges she faced, many of which, in his view, were shaped by Charles's actions. Through his words, Elton continues to defend Diana's memory and stand up for the values she represented. Standing up for Diana and her legacy. Elton John has always been a man of loyalty, and when it comes to Princess Diana, his commitment to her legacy is unwavering. From the moment they became friends in the early 1980s, Elton admired Diana's courage, compassion, and ability to connect with people on a deeply human level. After her tragic death in 1997, Elton took it upon himself to ensure that her memory, and the values she stood for, would never be forgotten. Elton's decision to speak out about Diana's struggles and the challenges she faced was not an easy one. For years, he remained silent about the role King Charles allegedly played in Diana's isolation and the strain on their friendship. However, Elton later revealed that he felt a responsibility to share the truth, not to stir controversy, but to honor Diana's life and legacy. He believed that the world needed to know the full extent of what she endured as a member of the royal family and how her humanitarian efforts were sometimes overshadowed by royal politics. One of Elton's most significant acts of loyalty came at Diana's funeral. His performance of a reworked version of Candle in the Wind became a defining moment of public mourning. The song, rewritten as Goodbye England's Rose, was a heartfelt tribute to Diana's life and the impact she had on millions around the world. The performance was not without controversy, as King Charles reportedly had reservations about the emotional tone of the song, but Elton stood firm. His tribute was a way of giving the people a voice to grieve and celebrate Diana's legacy. Beyond the funeral, Elton's dedication to Diana's memory has continued through his unwavering support for her children, Prince William and Prince Harry. His defense of Harry and Meghan Markle during their struggles with the press and royal life reflects his ongoing loyalty to Diana's values. Elton has never hesitated to stand up for what he believes is right, even when it means speaking out against powerful figures like King Charles. For Elton, standing up for Diana is more than an act of friendship. It's a promise to keep her spirit alive. Through his words, music, and actions, he continues to ensure that Diana's legacy of kindness, courage, and humanity shines brightly, even decades after her passing. Elton's final break with the royals. Elton John's relationship with the royal family has always been complex, but in recent years, it has reached a breaking point. While Elton has remained loyal to Princess Diana's memory and her children, Prince William and Prince Harry, his public support for Harry and Meghan Markle has created a clear divide between him and the rest of the monarchy, especially King Charles. This final break with the royals is not just about personal relationships, it's about Elton standing up for what he believes in and defending Diana's legacy. Elton's bond with Diana's sons grew stronger after her tragic death in 1997. He had always admired Diana's courage and compassion, and he saw those same qualities in Harry. Over the years, Elton became a trusted ally and mentor to Harry, offering guidance as he navigated the pressures of royal life. However, when Harry and Meghan stepped back from their royal duties and faced relentless media scrutiny, Elton's loyalty to them became more visible and more controversial. One key moment in Elton's break with the royals came when Harry and Meghan were criticized for using private jets. Elton publicly defended the couple, revealing that he had provided the flights and ensured they were environmentally offset. This was his way of protecting Diana's son and standing up against the same kind of unfair media treatment Diana had endured. However, Elton's vocal support for Harry and Meghan deepened the rift between him and King Charles, who was reportedly unhappy with Elton's involvement. For Elton, this wasn't just about Harry and Meghan, it was about the values Diana stood for. She had always championed causes of compassion and justice, and Elton felt it was his responsibility to do the same for her children. He saw parallels between the media's treatment of Diana and the attacks on Harry and Meghan, and he was determined to protect them, even if it meant distancing himself from the monarchy. Elton's final break with the royals is a testament to his unwavering loyalty to Diana and her family. While his relationship with the monarchy may never be repaired, his commitment to standing up for Diana's legacy remains stronger than ever.
The princess who spent her life in the relentless glare of the public eye died in a speeding car in Paris, apparently trying to evade pursuing photographers.
The world watched in stunned silence as Queen Camilla entered the Royal Courts of Justice in London, a moment that many thought impossible just weeks earlier. The investigation into Princess Diana's death, officially closed years ago, had been dramatically reopened following the discovery of new evidence that sent shockwaves through the British establishment. Now, in an unprecedented move, the Queen Consort herself was appearing before the special tribunal to address allegations that had haunted the royal family for decades. What would she reveal about that fateful night in Paris? The truth, it seems, was more complex and haunting than anyone had imagined. The shocking court appearance. The courtroom fell silent as Queen Camilla, dressed in somber navy blue rather than her usual royal attire, was sworn in. Gone was the regal confidence that had defined her public appearances since becoming Queen Consort. In its place was a woman who appeared to have aged years in mere weeks, her hands visibly trembling as she took her seat in the witness box. Judge Richard Harrington, specially appointed to lead this extraordinary inquiry, reminded the court that even royalty would be held to the same standards of honesty as any other witness. "Your Majesty," he began, his voice echoing through the hushed courtroom, "you have requested this appearance to address certain matters regarding the death of Diana, Princess of Wales. You may proceed." Camilla nodded, took a deep breath, and leaned toward the microphone. "Thank you, Your Honor. I appear before this court today not as Queen Consort, but as Camilla Parker Bowles, the woman I was in August 1997. I am here to acknowledge my role in the events surrounding Diana's death, and to offer an apology that I know comes far too late." The gallery erupted in gasps and murmurs, forcing the judge to call for order. The world watching on live feeds across the globe collectively held its breath. After decades of speculation, conspiracy theories, and official denials, was the truth about Diana's death finally going to be revealed? The confession begins. "I want to be clear," Camilla continued once order was restored, "that neither I nor Charles, His Majesty the King, ordered or planned Diana's death. That allegation, which has circulated for years, is categorically false." She paused, taking a sip of water, her hand still shaking. "However, I bear responsibility in ways that have never been acknowledged publicly, and which the previous investigations either missed or deliberately overlooked." According to Camilla's testimony, in the summer of 1997, she had become increasingly concerned about Diana's relationship with Dodi Fayed, and particularly about her plans to spend time with him in Paris. It wasn't jealousy as many have suggested, she insisted. It was fear about what she might reveal during this new relationship. Diana had always been unpredictable, and she knew things about the royal family, about Charles, about me, about arrangements that were made, that could have been devastating if made public. Camilla then described how she had reached out through intermediaries to several people who had been responsible for monitoring Diana's activities. Not to harm her, she emphasized, but to ensure we had advance warning of any potentially damaging revelations. The fatal chain of events. What followed in Camilla's testimony was a detailed account of how these seemingly routine surveillance measures spiraled into tragedy. According to her testimony, she had contacted a former security officer with connections to both British and French intelligence who had previously helped manage sensitive information related to the royal family. "I asked him to ensure that we knew who Diana was meeting with in Paris and what she was discussing," Camilla stated. "Standard monitoring, nothing more. But I learned later that this individual took more extensive measures than I had authorized." Camilla described how this security contact had recruited Henri Paul, the deputy head of security at the Ritz Hotel in Paris, to report on Diana's movements and conversations. Paul, who would later drive the car in the fatal crash, had apparently been pressured into cooperating through references to his history of accepting payments for information about hotel guests. "What I did not know at the time," Camilla continued, her voice breaking, "was that this operative had also suggested to Mr. Paul that it would be helpful if Diana and Dodi could be encouraged to leave the hotel through the rear entrance to avoid paparazzi, and to drive at a speed that would make photography difficult." The court sat in stunned silence as Camilla acknowledged that while there was no order to cause harm, Her actions had set in motion the chain of events that led to the fatal crash. The instruction to Henri Paul to drive quickly while the paparazzi followed was a terrible miscalculation by people acting indirectly on my behalf. Miscalculation that had devastating consequences. The cover-up. Perhaps even more shocking than the revelation about the events leading to the crash was Camilla's detailed account of the cover-up that followed. According to her testimony, when news of Diana's accident reached London, her first call was not to Charles as had always been believed, but to this same security operative. I needed to know exactly what had happened and how directly it could be traced back to my inquiries, she admitted. What I learned horrified me. This wasn't supposed to happen. No one was supposed to be hurt. It was meant to be nothing more than monitoring, perhaps some subtle discouragement of her relationship with Dodi. Camilla described how within hours of the crash, a small team of officials had begun working to ensure that any connection between royal concerns about Diana and the accident would be eliminated from the official investigation. Certain files were removed from circulation. Certain witnesses were encouraged to adjust their recollections. The French investigation was subtly directed toward focusing exclusively on the paparazzi and the driver's blood alcohol level. She acknowledged that when traces of antidepressants and other substances were found in Henri Paul's system, this became the perfect explanation. One that diverted attention from any other factors that might have influenced his driving that night. I told myself it was necessary, Camilla said quietly. I told myself it was protecting the monarchy, protecting Charles, protecting the boys. But the truth is, I was protecting myself from having to face what my actions had inadvertently caused. The decades of silence. As her testimony continued, Camilla addressed the question that hung over the proceedings. Why come forward now, after decades of silence? For years, I believed the lie we had constructed, she explained. That Diana's death was simply a tragic accident caused by a drunk driver and aggressive photographers. I compartmentalized my role, minimized it in my own mind, told myself that my inquiries had been reasonable, and that the outcome was not my responsibility. According to Camilla, this carefully maintained psychological distance began to crumble following Queen Elizabeth's death and Charles's accession to the throne. Becoming queen consort forced me to confront the path that had led me there, she said. The weight of the crown makes it impossible to carry the weight of this lie any longer. She revealed that the final breaking point came when Prince William's children, particularly Charlotte, began asking questions about the grandmother they had never known. When William told me that Charlotte had asked him if the stories about Granny Camilla being involved in Diana's death were true, and I saw the pain in his eyes as he related this, I knew the time for truth had come. Camilla acknowledged that her confession was not entirely voluntary. According to her testimony, new evidence had recently emerged through a deathbed confession from the security operative she had employed, who had documented his actions as a form of insurance. These documents had made their way to the public prosecutor's office, prompting the reopening of the investigation. I could have continued to deny, she admitted, but the evidence would have emerged regardless, and I could not bear the thought of William and Harry learning the truth from court records, rather than hearing it from me directly. The apology. The most powerful moment of the testimony came when Camilla directly addressed William and Harry, who were not present in the courtroom, but who she knew would be watching. To William and Harry, I know that no apology can ever be sufficient. Your mother should have been at your weddings. She should know her grandchildren. She should have lived the life that was ahead of her. While I did not intend her harm, my actions contributed to creating the circumstances in which she was harmed. For that, I am profoundly, unforgivably sorry. Turning back to the judge, Camilla concluded, I accept whatever legal consequences this court determines appropriate for my role in these events and the subsequent concealment of the truth. I do not ask for forgiveness, as I'm not sure that would be possible. I ask only to finally tell the truth, for Diana's memory and for her sons. As she finished speaking, the courtroom remained in stunned silence. The woman who had become queen consort of the United Kingdom had just implicated herself in events leading to Princess Diana's death, and in the decades-long cover-up that followed. The constitutional implications were enormous, and the personal tragedy had been laid bare in a way few had thought possible. The aftermath. As the court adjourned to consider the extraordinary testimony, legal experts began debating the potential consequences. While Camilla had not admitted to intentionally causing harm, her acknowledgement of initiating surveillance that led to the fatal crash and her role in concealing evidence could potentially result in criminal charges ranging from conspiracy to pervert the course of justice to involuntary manslaughter. The immediate constitutional crisis was unprecedented. King Charles, who had reportedly been aware of Camilla's intention to testify but not the full extent of what she would reveal, was facing calls to address the nation. Palace sources described him as devastated by the revelations, but supportive of the truth finally being acknowledged. Prince William and Prince Harry, despite years of strained relations, were said to have spoken by phone shortly after the testimony concluded. No statement was immediately forthcoming, but sources close to both princes indicated they were processing the revelations with support from their respective families. Public reaction was explosive, with crowds gathering outside Buckingham Palace, some demanding Charles's abdication, others simply laying flowers in Diana's memory. The testimony had reopened wounds that had never fully healed in the British psyche, where Diana remained the people's princess even decades after her death. For Queen Camilla, the future remained uncertain as she left the courtroom under heavy security, no longer wearing the mantle of royalty with confidence, but instead bearing the weight of a truth that had taken 28 years to acknowledge. Whether this confession would bring closure or create a new chapter of turmoil for the monarchy remained to be seen. What was clear was that the fairy tale narrative of royal succession had been permanently altered by the queen who finally chose truth over the throne.
Great news here, where the big headline is, of course, that the royal baby is on the way. Prince William and Kate.
Big news just came out about Kate Middleton and Prince William, something huge that no one saw coming. For weeks, people have been wondering what's really going on, and now the truth is finally out. This isn't just any announcement, it could change everything for the royal family in a way no one expected. The palace has been quiet for a while, but now the silence is broken. What did they say? Why does it matter so much? And what happens next? Every detail of this shocking news is unfolding right now, and it's something the whole world is watching closely. The announcement revealed. Just a little while ago, the world heard some huge news from Prince William and Kate Middleton. The royal couple shared that they are expecting their fourth child. Yes, you heard that right. The Prince and Princess of Wales are going to be parents again. This surprise announcement has taken everyone by storm, and people everywhere are already celebrating. The announcement came through an official statement from Kensington Palace, which was also shared on their social media pages. The post read, "The Prince and Princess of Wales are delighted to share that they are expecting their fourth child. Both mother and baby are doing well. The family is grateful for the kind wishes from everyone." The palace also confirmed that Kate is in the early stages of her pregnancy and is resting at home with her family. Royal fans from around the world are now wondering when the baby is due, whether it will be a boy or girl, and what name they will choose. The buzz is real, and the excitement is growing every minute. The context behind the announcement. Many people are now asking, why now? What made them decide to share this news today? And honestly, the timing of this announcement is very interesting. For the past few months, there's been a lot of talk and worry about Kate's health. She had been away from public events for a while, and fans were wondering if everything was okay. Now, it all makes sense. Kate was likely resting and taking care of herself because of the pregnancy. Sharing the news today clears up all those questions and rumors. It also lets everyone know that she is fine, and there's a beautiful reason behind her absence. Also, this announcement comes right after a few major royal events. Recently, Prince William took on more duties on behalf of King Charles, who has also been dealing with health concerns. So, this news brings a bit of joy and light to the royal family during a serious time. If we look a little deeper, there may be a special reason behind choosing this particular time to share the news. Kate and William made the announcement right after Mother's Day celebrations in the UK. It feels like a beautiful way to honor motherhood and new beginnings. It's also springtime, a season that stands for new life, hope, and fresh starts. Maybe this was their way of spreading some positivity when the world really needs it. There's something sweet about the way they made this announcement. They didn't do a big press conference or call reporters. They chose to keep it simple and personal. By sharing it on social media and through the palace, they made sure the message came directly from them to the people. It shows how connected William and Kate are to the modern world, where millions of people wake up and check the news on their phones first thing in the morning. What this means for the royal family. Now, let's talk about what this means for the royal family. A new royal baby is always big news, but this one feels extra special. Why? Because it adds a new chapter to the future of the British monarchy. With Prince William being the next in line to the throne after his father, King Charles, every child he has becomes part of the future royal story. This new baby will be fifth in line to the throne, right after their big brothers and sister, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. Even though this baby might not be the next king or queen, they will still grow up as a major part of the royal family. Some royal experts are already saying that this baby will bring a fresh wave of love and attention to the monarchy. In recent years, the royal family has faced a lot of challenges: scandals, family rifts, and health worries. But babies always have a way of bringing everyone back together. A royal birth is something everyone, young and old, can celebrate. This also shows that Kate and William are fully embracing their role as the future king and queen. They're not just sitting back and waiting for their turn. They're building a strong, loving family that will support the crown in the years to come. Every time they step out with their children, they show the world that the monarchy is not just about duty. It's about family, love, and values. Kate, in particular, has always been known as the people's princess of this generation. She is loved for being graceful, kind, and down-to-earth. Her decision to have a fourth child at a time when the world is going through so much shows her strength and her belief in family. People look up to her, and this news will only make her even more loved. For Prince William, this is also a proud moment. He has often spoken about how important his family is to him. He lost his mother, Princess Diana, at a young age, and has always made it clear that being a good father is his #1 job. This new baby gives him one more reason to smile, and one more child to love and protect. The royal family will surely rally around Kate and William during this time. We can expect to see more of King Charles showing support, and even Prince Harry and Meghan Markle might reach out with their congratulations. After all, a new baby has the power to heal wounds and bring families closer, no matter how far apart they may seem. There's also talk that this new baby could change how royal duties are shared in the future. As Kate focuses on her health and the new baby, Prince William might take on even more public work. This could also open doors for younger royals, like Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, to step in and help with royal events. No matter what happens next, one thing is for sure: the world will be watching. Every tiny detail, from Kate's baby bump to the baby's first photos, will be loved and talked about by millions. This child will grow up in the spotlight, just like their siblings, but also with the love and protection of a family that has learned from its past. The excitement is real. The love is pouring in. And once again, the world is reminded why the royal family holds such a special place in so many hearts. Whether you're a fan of the royals or not, you can't help but smile at the thought of a new baby bringing joy, hope, and a fresh beginning. Make sure to stay updated because this story is far from over. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. More big news could be coming soon, and you won't want to be the last to know.
Buckingham Palace, which has announced that the King has been diagnosed with cancer.
Can't mimic voices for love or money. I'm completely hopeless at it. I was the only one, so I think she carved her own role.
Dark clouds have gathered over the royal family. Queen Camilla, always strong in front of the world, has been seen breaking down in tears after receiving shocking news. A life sentence that changes everything. The palace halls, once filled with power and control, now feel heavy with fear and uncertainty. At the same time, another heartbreaking update shakes the kingdom. King Charles, already fighting a tough battle with cancer, faces a new twist in his health that no one saw coming. The weight of it all is too much to bear, and the royal family is struggling to hold things together. What led to this moment? What does this mean for the future of the monarchy? The truth behind these shocking events is more heartbreaking than anyone could have imagined. Queen Camilla's alleged life sentence. The phrase life sentence is usually something we hear in courtrooms. It's a punishment for serious crimes, something that keeps people behind bars forever. So, when people say Queen Camilla has been given a life sentence, what does that actually mean? The truth is, Camilla is not in any legal trouble. She has not been sent to prison. Instead, this so-called sentence seems to be a metaphor. Many believe that Camilla is now trapped in a role she never truly wanted, facing endless criticism and public scrutiny. She has stepped into a position that comes with huge responsibilities, and it's weighing heavily on her. The rumors started spreading on social media and in tabloid newspapers. Some headlines made it sound like she was facing actual jail time. Others exaggerated her emotional state, claiming she was in tears and unable to handle the pressure. But where did this all come from? It seems that many of these stories were fueled by the ongoing debates about her place in the royal family. Some people still see her as the other woman from the past. Even though years have passed since Princess Diana's tragic death, the shadow of that history still lingers. Some tabloids thrive on this controversy, pushing dramatic headlines to attract attention. So, is Queen Camilla really serving a life sentence? Not in a legal sense, but emotionally, she might feel like she is stuck in a role that comes with endless criticism and expectations. Why Queen Camilla might be struggling emotionally. Camilla's journey into the royal family has never been smooth. From the very beginning, she was labeled as the woman who came between Prince Charles and Princess Diana. The world loved Diana. She was the people's princess, known for her kindness and warmth. So, when Charles's affair with Camilla became public, it was like a betrayal to many. Even after Diana's passing, Camilla was seen as a controversial figure. When she finally married Charles in 2005, many people still refused to accept her. And now, as queen consort, the pressure has only increased. Public perception of Camilla remains divided. Some have warmed up to her over the years, seeing her as a dedicated wife to Charles. But others still view her with suspicion. The comparison to Diana never goes away, and that can be emotionally draining. Imagine stepping into a role where millions of people constantly judge you, compare you, and question your worth. That's the reality Camilla faces every day. And then, there's the pressure within the royal family itself. Prince William and Prince Harry were deeply affected by their mother's story. While William has remained mostly respectful towards Camilla, Harry has been more outspoken. In his book Spare, Harry made it clear that he saw Camilla as someone who played the long game to secure her place in the royal family. These tensions, whether spoken or unspoken, add to the emotional burden Camilla carries. Now, with King Charles battling cancer, things have become even more complicated. She is expected to be strong, supportive, and ready to step up in his absence. But behind the scenes, she may be struggling with the weight of it all. Camilla's role in the monarchy becoming queen consort was never part of Camilla's original plan. When she married Charles, there were talks that she would only be called princess consort out of respect for Diana's legacy. But over time, Charles made it clear that he wanted Camilla to have full recognition as his queen. When Queen Elizabeth passed away in 2022, Camilla officially stepped into the role. But with that title came massive responsibilities. She is now expected to support the king, attend royal events, and uphold the image of the monarchy. Her transition from Duchess of Cornwall to queen consort was not an easy one. People still criticized her, questioned her worth, and compared her to Diana. She had to work extra hard to prove herself. Even now, she faces backlash whenever she makes a public appearance. Some believe she is undeserving of the title, while others feel she has earned her place. The question remains, does she feel trapped in this role? Some insiders suggest that Camilla never truly wanted this level of attention. She was comfortable staying in the background, but now, with Charles's health crisis, she is being pushed into a more central position. And with every move she makes, the world is watching. King Charles's cancer update. Just when the world was adjusting to the idea of Charles as king, shocking news came out. He had been diagnosed with cancer. The announcement was made by Buckingham Palace, but they did not reveal what type of cancer he has. All they confirmed was that it is not prostate cancer. The news left many people concerned. Charles is in his mid-70s, and health issues at this stage can be serious. He has already started treatment, but the palace has kept many details private. Medical experts have weighed in, saying that early detection is key, but without more information, it's hard to predict his recovery. The big question now is, how is the royal family handling this? How the royal family is reacting? Camilla has been by Charles's side, attending to royal duties while also supporting him behind closed doors. Some reports suggest that she has been under immense stress, trying to balance everything at once. Prince William has stepped up in his father's absence. As the next in line for the throne, he has taken on more responsibilities. His focus is not just on his father's health, but also on keeping the monarchy stable. And what about Prince Harry? His reaction has been one of the biggest talking points. After years of tension with the royal family, he made a quick trip to the UK after hearing about his father's condition. But the visit was short, and there was no sign of deep reconciliation. Many wonder if this crisis will bring the family closer, or if the distance will remain. The future of the monarchy, amidst health concerns. If King Charles's health worsens, what happens next? The answer is clear. Prince William is next in line. But is he ready? Many believe he has been preparing for this role his entire life. He is respected, responsible, and has the public's support. But stepping into the role of king is not easy, and with his father's illness, he may have to take on more leadership sooner than expected. The monarchy itself is at a crossroads. Public opinion about the royal family is changing. Some people still love and support them, while others question whether the monarchy should continue at all. Charles' illness and Camilla's struggles only add to the uncertainty. For now, the world watches and waits. Will Charles recover? Will Camilla find strength in her role? And will this crisis bring the family together or tear them apart? The royal family is facing one of its darkest moments, and the future has never felt more uncertain. With Queen Camilla in tears and King Charles's health hanging in the balance, the world is left wondering, what happens next? As more details unfold, this story is far from over. Stay tuned for the latest updates, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, so you never miss a breaking royal update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
The presenters on every news channel were saying injured but expected to make a full recovery, and I have no idea why, but it made me so angry.
She stood there, shaking, her face twisted in disbelief. The courtroom was silent, too silent, except for the judge's final words, guilty. A gasp rippled through the crowd. Sarah Spencer, Princess Diana's sister, had just been sentenced for a crime no one thought possible, her own sister's murder. For years, conspiracy theories swirled around Diana's tragic death, but no one saw this coming. Sarah, once a quiet figure in the background, was now at the center of the most shocking twist in royal history. And when the verdict hit, she lost it. Screaming, thrashing, complete chaos. What really happened behind those palace doors? How did Diana's own sister end up here? And most importantly, was justice truly served? Diana's relationship with her sister. Most people know Princess Diana as the sweet, kind-hearted princess who captured millions of hearts. But very few know the messy, complicated story she shared with her own sister. Yes, behind all the glitz and glamour of royal life, there was a hidden rivalry brewing between Diana and her older sister, Lady Sarah Spencer. What many people don't know is that before Diana ever met Prince Charles, Sarah dated him first. Shocking, right? It's hard to imagine. But there was a time when it was Sarah, not Diana, who was close to becoming a princess. They say Sarah and Charles met at a royal gathering, and for a short while, they dated. Sarah was charming, bold, and very sure of herself. Some people even thought she was perfect for Charles. But things didn't work out, and the relationship ended. Still, it left a mark, because Sarah was the one who later introduced Diana to Charles. And that, some say, was where the trouble really began. At first, everything looked normal. Diana was young, shy, and had never been in the royal spotlight. Sarah, being the older sister, probably felt protective. But the moment Charles turned his attention to Diana, things started to change. Suddenly, it was Diana attending royal events. It was Diana everyone wanted to talk to. And it was Diana's face on every newspaper. Can you imagine how that must have felt for Sarah? Watching your younger sister slip into the life you once dreamed of? The same man you once dated is now marrying your sister. The same family you wanted to be part of is now calling her princess. It wasn't just about love anymore. It was about losing the spotlight, losing the dream. Over time, the gap between the two sisters grew wider. There were fewer public appearances together, fewer family photos. People close to the family started whispering about jealousy, fights, and cold stares at private gatherings. Some even claimed that Sarah always felt like Diana stole the royal life that was supposed to be hers. Years went by, but that bitterness never really left. Every time Diana smiled for the cameras, every time she was praised for being the people's princess, Sarah's anger grew. Maybe she tried to hide it. Maybe she played along in front of the cameras. But inside, there was a storm brewing, and nobody, absolutely nobody, saw what was coming next. The shocking arrest